rise again to glory then, soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe. We're unstoppable, powerful, enough to beat the odds. If you love me, you will see the flames inside of me.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Seduce Me 2, the Demon War. The War of the Demons. Ah, shoot, I forgot. I have to go back and change my answer to something or other. Join me on this adventure as we skip. Go, go, go. I think I just skipped a sexy whoopsies, but whatever. Doesn't matter, does it? You know what? It might matter. I just saved over it. Shit. No. Alright, hold on. Let me open the guide. Let's see. Have I fucked up yet? Have I fucked up yet? You're supposed to kiss him, you son of a bitch. I will be right back as I start this route all over again. I've made it. I redid James's route, but I did it. Yeah, here. Alright. It's been only 2 minutes and I'm already tired. Diana ran a hand through her hair and looked around the room, pressing her lips into a fine line.
So, about all of you participating in the war, you all obviously need to train.
Everyone nodded in agreement to Diana's statement. While we weren't battle ready, we still needed to at least know how to defend ourselves. Diana, however, looked to me.
You, most of all.
Hold on. Get this back here. Get this back. There we go. That's better. The background of Steam is nice and dark, so I can focus on what I'm looking at. Huh? Me? I was suddenly confused. How come I was the odd one out that had to be ready the most? You're human. The last thing I remembered about me training was that Diana was against the idea altogether. Diana sighed and rubbed her temple.
Apparently, there are guidelines to breaking this curse. Not only do we have to kill the Demon Lord, but you have to be nearby when it happens for the curse to even break.
That made no sense. Where did you learn this?
Shadow.
That makes no sense,
spent the
sorry.
night trying to find alternative ways to break your curse. Unfortunately, we didn't find anything of the sort, but we found the guidelines to breaking it.
Just a little loud. Well, it still makes no sense.
Even while it doesn't, it's still better to be safe than sorry. I don't want to kill him and then still have you stuck here because of an error.
I could only sigh and take it in, so I had to be there when the Demon Lord fell. Great! Diana waved her hand dismissively through the air, breaking my potential thoughts.
Anyway, we can't have you dying on the way there, and we can't monitor you when we're in battle. You should at least know how to defend yourself. That's why we've come up with a solution.
Huh? What solution?
Simple. The other rebel leaders and Sero have agreed that if you'd like a trainer to enhance your abilities, you can train with one of them.
I stared, seeing Sedo step forward with a nod.
Each of the leaders is proficient in a different area of magic and battle strategy, good enough for self-defense. I can't speak for the others, but I can assure you that with Sero's skill and training methods, you will be well prepared by the time the siege arrives.
Sedo nodded and bowed to me slightly. While I was flattered at the idea, did I really need a trainer? I knew Taekwondo, and I at least knew how to defend myself, demon or not. Then again, we were in the demon world, where magic was the norm. What would the others teach me? Diana ran a hand through her hair, looking to the side as she listed off each leader and their skills.
Sergeant is a brute demon, bred from a nomadic tribe. He most likely teach you the ways of the brute demon, using your fists and speed to keep you alive.
Oh, sorry.
Shadow is, by definition, a shadow demon, so he'd probably teach you about dark magic, light manipulation, and assassination. Rabbit is a wild magic-based animal demon, using her animal-focused energy as her weapon. She'd probably teach you how to do the same. Fae? I am honestly not sure. I know they can change their size and use elemental magic as well, but to be honest, I do not know what they would teach you.
Oh. Shadow's done, Rabbit's done, Faye's done. I haven't done Sergeant, and Seto's done. I don't really feel like doing Sergeant, and since I don't know if I can pick a trainer in the next route, which is Diana's, I'm gonna have to pick Diana. Who cares about Sergeant, right? Diana stared at me as if I had 3 heads. No one else seemed opposed to the idea, but I was genuinely curious. Diana pressed her lips together and looked away from me.
My hands are too full.
Oh, come on!
That's a lie.
Seto?
Watch your tongue.
My lady is proficient with blades and enthrallments.
Ooh.
I've seen her cause armies to fall to their knees and bark on her command.
Ooh, that sounds fun. Diana glared hard at Seto, but I was pretty convinced that Seto said was true. And Diana was pretty powerful. Still, Diana as my trainer, what would come of that? I choose you, Diana.
But I...
No buts.
I will make sure that everything is settled for you, my lady. Please consider training her as you know her best.
Seto's like, I'm happy about this arrangement.
Fine.
Yay! Maybe we can ship Diana and Seto again. That'd be fun. With that, Diana turned on her heel and left the room.
Finish eating. Afterwards, you should start training.
Oh, Diana, we're gonna become such best friends! Everyone in the room nodded their affirmation. As Diana and Seto left, James put his shirt on for... Oh, this reminds me. I was looking on Google for, like, Seduce Me fan art and all that stuff, and yeah, it was pretty fun stuff. A lot of fan art of Damien, holy crap. But I also found, I'm gonna put a little picture, a Damien hoodie, shirt, and tank top. That's just what I need, right, guys?
Well, it looks like we'll be busy for the next couple of days.
Yep.
This'll be fun.
Hey, James, put this Damien-themed shirt on. I'm sure you'll love it.
Man, training's gonna suck.
It'll be worth it, though.
Shut up, Damien.
Damien's right.
No, he's not. Well, okay, he is, but still, shut up, Damien. As we all finished eating, everyone left to either train or do things on their own. I left to start my own work, determined to be prepared for what was to come. Da-da-da-da. The Demon Lord wasn't going to win. I wouldn't let him. Diana. I chose to train with Diana. I knew it personally, though the memories aren't great, and knew that she would be able to connect with me the best. Really? In her place, Seto vowed to train the incubi. Diana brought me to the Grand Hall, which was originally set for her and Seto. Being that it was a special circumstance, Diana took control of the space and gave Seto the incubi other room to train in. As I stepped in, I felt the air in the room shift to almost cold and tense tone. She does not look happy with me. Diana, who stood on the far side of the room, stared at me with her one visible red eye.
Tell me why you want me, of all people, to train you.
'Cause you're cool and I love your hair. I felt a shiver. I'm a fangirl of Diana. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I listened to her question. Why was she suddenly cold towards me? She wasn't using any magic to enthrall me or force me to answer, so I let the answer come out naturally. Because I trust you. Okay. Diana stared at me, trying to find any sort of sign that I was lying or spouting a nonsense answer. When she found no such sign, she let out a sigh.
I will not go easy on you. I hope you realize that.
You should go easy on me? I don't mind. Diana shook her head before forming a small steel circlet in her hand. It was a gorgeous black color with a light lavender design running around it. I stared in awe as Diana slowly walked over, holding it out for me to take.
Remember, this training is to make sure that you know how to defend yourself. This is not about you becoming a fighter.
Yes, ma'am! I know that, but what is this?
Something that you'll like, I promise.
Ooh. I took the ring from her hand and examined it as she stepped away. It was lighter than I expected, but that's probably because it was because of its magical qualities. I swung it a couple times through the open air, getting the feel of it. There was nothing really special about it. It looked like a bracelet. If there was a joke here, I was missing it. It's a bracelet.
Very good. At least your eyes work.
Woohoo! Point for me! I glared, piercing my lips. Really? Diana shook her head.
Succubus magic draws from our feelings of pleasure, happiness, and overall euphoria.
Ooh.
When focused through an object, such as a bracelet, it can become a weapon or a shield.
Excuse me, but I don't want to buy a license key, thank you very much. Get out of here, Norton. I stared at the ring, imagining such a thing. Would it become a sword? What about a large shield? She did say this training was meant for self-defense. Diana backed away from me, holding her arms out.
Try throwing it in front of you. Focus your energy into the metal, and the circlet will absorb it.
How do you even do that? What? I tilted my head before looking at to the circlet and twirling it in my hand. It was light enough. However, I had to focus my energy into it. As strange as that sounded, it was like giving energy to my fiancé. Really? I don't think you want to get that personal with the bracelet. It should be easy. I stared at the circlet, seeing it glow ever so slightly as energy softly began to run through my body and into my hand. It was a very interesting sight to see, but I continued until I felt that it was enough. At last, I checked the circlet in front of me I chuckled at the circlet. That's what I did. Huh, what a funny bracelet. I chucked at the circlet in front of me, only to gasp at the result. In front of me formed a large ring of circles around my body, hovering in the air like a protective circle. Diana smirked and summoned her saber, rushing at me. Oh dear. Ah! I instinctively held up my arms, but was surprised to hear the clashing of steel against steel. I looked up to see Diana's weapon completely wrapped in a chain of circlets that erupted from my barrier, trying to pull it from her hand.
Behold!
Sorry for the hiccup.
Your new weapon!
Behold! Da-da-da-da! Diana released the weapon and jumped back, only to charge at me again with a bare fist. However, I watched as the circlets around me formed a chain wall between me and Diana, causing her flying punch to impact the barrier. Diana kept this up, showing me the different ways the circlet protected me and aided me. Eventually, however, the circlets fused back into one and dropped to the floor. As Diana panted slightly, she pointed at it.
It stores your energy and uses it as you demand. Throwing it in front of you will automatically make it a shield. Holding it in your hand and arcing it will form a whip.
Cool! I picked up the circlet and stared at it, surprised to see it as such. Okay. More of my energy flowed into it, and I indeed formed a chained whip in my hand, glowing a gold and lavender color. Me and James will have fun with this tonight. Hey! Okay. Wow. Taking a breath, Diana straightened up and summoned her saber.
Come on. We have work to do.
I don't wanna. I nodded and prepared a stance, ready to attack. We worked for hours, endlessly going back and forth between offense and defense with my circlet. As the day turned into night, I felt wave upon wave of exhaustion hit me. Diana chuckled as I slammed my back against the wall and tried to catch my breath.
Go rest up and take a breath. Come back when you're ready.
I nodded and rushed out of the room, finding the kitchen and getting some water. I would get lost so easily. I was a little bit of a trek. I was a little bit of a trekkie. Hey! I was so sextos a trekkie, nice. It was a little bit of a trek, okay, but I knew Diana wouldn't be waiting long. I merely walked out of the room for a moment. I didn't expect to walk back into the grand hall to be face to face with a large black spear. The hell is that? I walk in on a giant Diana fart. What is this? Red lightning seemed to zip around its surface as it emanated a dark and evil glow. I felt fear shake my core, simply staring at it. I was stunned. Where was Diana? Why was there a black spear in the middle of the training room? What the hell was going on? Just in case we get sucked into the black hole that is this, I'm going to save. Check it out. I had to check it out. Something wasn't right. I could feel it in my gut. I walked into the room and shut the door behind me, because that's a good idea. Not wanting to freak out any passing people. As I stepped towards the spear, I could faintly hear echoes trickle from it.
Don't be such a stubborn bitch. You can't deny me for much longer.
Excuse me?
What the hell do you want?
The hell's this? Diana? None of this was making sense. I continued stepping towards the spear and barely noticed the room shift around me, which, with each step forward, it wasn't nauseating, but I definitely felt a little dizzy. Still, I continued forward. What's with the 70s porn music? What is this? I found myself in a purple and black void. Dark shapes in the void. Stop with the saxophone, please. Dark shapes in the void looked like trees and wildlife, but I couldn't have been sure. Something was going on, and Diana was somewhere within this new place.
You know very well what I want. I want the same thing you want, that you keep denying. I still don't know what the hell you are talking about.
What's going on? I followed Diana's voice into the dark to find her standing off against herself. Well, ain't this just a son of a bitch? Something was off already. One of the Dianas, who I could tell was the real succubus, stood full of tension and rage, while the other Diana practically emanated dark energy and had a devilish smirk painted across her face. I gotta sneeze so bad. Oh, I'm so sorry. Strangely enough, I somehow recognize the evil-looking Diana.
How long are you going to keep up this charade, Azayur? Every time you look at that human, you can't help but feel so angry. You can't help it from me.
Oh, you're bringing back the last episode's rant of how we are such a terrible person.
I know what you're trying to do. It won't work. I know what you are.
Diana, how can you not hate me after what I did?
What am I then? Oh, wise one.
Ooh, wise one.
You're a fragment of the Demon Lord's madness. You
Oh.
only exist to haunt me after all of these years, fighting against that bastard. That's what I get when I clash swords with him one too many times.
So she knows.
Am I
Interesting.
now? Really? And if you are wrong,
Then I just had too much to drink.
I know I'm not.
I'll tell
What
you.
if I was a real part of your soul, just wanting to be released after being held back for so long? You once accepted me, you know, when you went to the human world. Of course, that muse had to write that into the human story for you to fully accept me.
I am so lost. I stared wide-eyed. What the hell? What was this creature talking about? The real Diana glared, baring her teeth at her copy. A sneeze. In her hands formed her saber, glowing in almost unnatural purple color in the void.
You don't exist, and that is final.
The evil Diana smirked wider, forming a saber in her own that was laced in black mist.
Whatever you say, dearie. You'll accept me eventually. And when you do, I'll make sure you become the best demon queen this world has ever known.
I hate the thing she did with her voice where it starts to talk before she talks. It creeps me out so bad. Bam went out. Diana practically snarled before charging at the copy of her, swinging her saber at her opponent in rage. With a parry, the battle began. Diana and the copycat clashed swords over and over, one full of rage and the other full of playful disinterest. Diana was giving a solid offense. Was giving a solid offensive, but each attack she struck was blocked by her target with an almost disgusting ease. I wanted to step in, but somehow in my gut kept me back. Why? Because you don't belong there. Diana and the copycat eventually slammed their sabers together in a deadlock. The copycat, however, leaned in, smirking wildly.
Just give up already. You know you need me, so you can't kill me. What are you saying? You know very well that I am the only thing that's keeping you from breaking down. It's more convenient when your peers don't even know how weak you are.
Wow, we're getting deep here. What the hell was she talking about? The copycat pressed into Diana's saber, making Diana lean back with wide eyes.
You couldn't even save your family from dying. It's all your fault, and you know it. You didn't have the strength or the guts to kill the human and take the boys by force. Was the life of that human really worth the lives of your family? Your baby sister?
Somebody end this now.
If I had killed her, then the angels would have come after me. Such a pure and golden heart. Let's see how far that pure-hearted act gets you when the Demon Lord comes howling for you. Shut up already!
Diana pushed roughly against the copycat, forcing it back before swinging her saber in a wide arch at it. With ease, the copycat slid to the side and brought her saber back with a dark chuckle.
You better try harder, or else you're going to die!
The evil Diana swiped her blade at the real Diana's gut, trying to cut her open, but missed. Diana jumped back. This was insane! What was happening? Welcome to the demon world. I didn't want to just sit here and do nothing. Diana was in odds against some sort of evil being. The more I looked at it, the more I recognized the Diana that appeared in the human world and tried to take the boys away. Was that not the real Diana that I met then? I shook my head. Now was not the time to worry about that. I had to do something. I got you, girl! I had to know what was happening. Maybe my voice would make the copycat stop and Diana could get rid of them. Unfortunately, both Dianas looked at me. The real one with a shocked expression, while the evil one has an almost psychotic smirk.
Sticking your nose in others' business again, human.
That's what I do best. I could barely register the next second as the evil Diana's saber came flying at my face like a speeding bullet.
No!
Before the saber could reach me, however, the shadow... Did I just kill Diana? A shadow covered me and and the sound of a harsh clash reached my ears. I looked up to see Diana with her body between me and her copycat, her blade and post swing with the other flying into the dark forest. The evil Diana smirked wildly, licking her lips as she chuckled darkly.
There's that pure heart again. You best be careful, Azure. Queens with good hearts are often the ones who are poisoned before they sit on the throne.
That's foreshadowing for later.
Enough! Be gone with you!
Poof. With a chuckle, the copycat vanished, fading into a black shadow and melting into the ground. As she disappeared, the world around us dimmed before brightening back up into the hall. Diana let out a sigh before turning her head to me with a glare. I'm sorry, I was trying to help. Shit.
Why did you come in?
I was trying to help. Diana continued to gaze, her anger tearing into my eyes and soul. This was definitely something she wanted to hide, however, it was too late now. I let out a sigh and stared back at Diana, trying to remain unfazed at her anger. I wanted to know what was going on. I saw you win this black orb thing and needed to see if you're alright.
It's none of your concern. I can handle it.
Yeah, you look like you're totally winning there. Diana walked towards the exit of the room, making her saber in her hand vanish.
We're done for the day.
But what are you...
I said we're done.
Diana made her way to the door and looked over her shoulder at me, her eye glowing gold.
Speak of this to anyone, and I will send you back to the human world as a corpse.
Yes, ma'am. Despite Diana helping me before I could tell that she was serious from the growl in her voice, I decided to keep my mouth shut. Better not to test her patience or trust on that matter. Still, I worried about her. She apparently had to deal with a lot, and partially because of me. Partially? Bullshit! Partially! Come on! Partially! This is all your fault! I sighed to myself and stared at the ground, unsure of what to do. For now I would drop it and would return to it tomorrow. I was exhausted and needed to bathe and sleep. And sex. I returned to my room that night. Wondering how things had come to this. My body was exhausted, but my mind was running 100 miles an hour. I had to physically be near the demon lord while he died. How specific was this curse? As I sat on the bed, I ran my hands through my hair and over my face, attempting to ease the nerves beneath my skin. Despite it not working as well as I hoped, I found myself organizing my thoughts constructively. I was training for a reason, after all. I was working to make sure I survived this war and was able to go home with James, the man I loved. Fucking hiccups. However, just thinking about him brought back memories of Seto screaming and Diana crying. Was it really James' fault? This wasn't just James' fault! Was it really James and everybody else's fault that Diana's family was killed? Yes. All James wanted was freedom. Yes, though. As I thought of him, James entered the room without a shirt again and spotted me, a tired smile growing on his face. I smiled back, matching his exhaustion.
You look worn out.
Very much so. You have no idea. So do you. James chuckled slightly and walked over, sitting beside me. I felt myself instinctively scoot closer to his body and lay my head on his shoulder. That simple move made my body almost sink into his. When did James feel this warm? James's arm wrapped around my waist and pulled me closer. As he placed a kiss on my head, I could only hum happily.
So, about sleeping tonight.
Oh, we're not? Wink, wonk. Hey. I looked up to James, wondering where the question came from. It was random, and I didn't understand what he meant until I stretched back into my thoughts. The angels. James nodded. He was right. How was I supposed to sleep when angels were after me? They could reach into my dreams to remove my memories without me being able to fight back. At least not without Seto's or Diana's help. It wasn't fair to depend on them, especially after remembering what Seto confessed this morning. James, however, gently turned to me in his arms and face to face him. Ugh. I looked up at him, wondering what he was up to. Guess it doesn't matter. What are you doing? I had to ask. I trusted him, but I still wanted to know what he was thinking and planning. James continued to stare into my eyes before frowning softly.
I want to try and do something, but I'm not sure if it will work.
Oh, okay.
It's been years since I've used pure demon magic, after all.
As long as it doesn't kill me, I think it's alright. What did he mean? Was he going to cast some sort of spell on me? What kind of spell was he going to use? I stared at James, unsure of the whole thing, but James kissed my forehead. Okay.
Please, trust me, love.
I don't, but I will anyway. It took a moment for me to slowly ease my curious nerves. James just wanted to help, and if this was the way, then this was the way. I nodded, giving him the okay to do whatever he needed to do. James gently ran his thumbs over the side of my face, tracing over the edges of my eyes and cheekbones. I felt a small wisp of energy dance over my nerves and closed my eyes gently, becoming lost in the sensation. Oh, jeez. I could faintly see golden light piercing through the darkness. Help! Darkness on my eyelids, so I kept my eyes closed, confident that this was the best thing to do. Calm down, me. A warmth enveloped my head, filling my thoughts with pure calm and serenity. It felt almost too unreal. As the light faded away, I opened my eyes to meet the loving gaze of my incubus. He gently caressed my cheek and placed his forehead against mine, closing his eyes with a smile. I felt joy wash over me as he held my head close to him.
There. That should work.
What'd you do? What did you do?
A small mind barrier spell. It's been a long time since I've used a spell like that. Simple, but hopefully effective.
We'll find out if I remember you in the morning. I nodded before gently nuzzling James. It had to work. It absolutely had to work. My heart swelled in hope that everything would be okay. I like how it just says, don't just go to sleep. You gotta do something. Kiss him before... What does it matter, though? Alright. Kiss him before sleeping. I gently stretched up and kissed him softly on the lips. He gently kissed me back and held my head to him, pressing me to his chest lovingly. I could feel him sneak a bit of energy from me, but I didn't mind. You little bastard. As we both laid back in the bed to sleep that night, James' spell was tested. Floating in darkness, a dream was never the same every time. Sometimes I'd be floating in water, other times I'd be flying through the air. The experience over my nerves changed every time. I could never prepare myself for what dream or nightmare would come. That night, however, I found myself once again in a jail cell. Well, son of a bitch. I didn't understand. Why was I here again? Why was I once again trapped in a cell? I looked down at my body to see my regular clothes still on. There was no shackle attached to my ankle, and I was free as I could be. That was different. Still, I had to be on guard. I quickly stood and walked to the cell door, running my hands over the metal. At the mere touch of my hands, the door slowly swung open, releasing me and allowing me to leave the dark cage. Another difference. I stepped forward, looking up and down the hall as I was in. There were no screams, no cries. It was silent as the grave. That worried me and made me feel uneasy, despite the relief I felt that the dream was not the same as the nightmare I had before. At least that's what I had hoped. A sudden cry of pain echoed down the hall, causing me to look over in the direction it erupted from. My heart stopped at for a moment, recognizing the voice. James? My body rushed on its own towards his voice, now desperate to find him. Why was he in pain? Who was hurting him? At last I arrived at the door, barely opened a crack. I peeked in and gasped at what I saw. I'm so glad I didn't mess that whistle up. I am so glad. What's happening? What's up, bro? Oh, got the Holy Cross in your chest? That's not bad. Wow, look at them muscles, though. Them muscles, though. Chained to the far wall was James, his body twitching in pain as he desperately attempted to free himself. I stared in shock as my eyes took in a cross burnt on his chest and seemed to sizzle over his flesh. Is that an angel? Now that I realize I could not be a very good voice actor because I couldn't get through without laughing my ass off. As James replied to the voice, the mark on his chest began to glow a hot red and yellow color, burning further into his skin. I unconsciously ran my hand over my chest in sympathy, wincing at the sight. Busted, motherfucker! -3 for staying hidden? Boy, what a penalty. Bustin'! I needed to stop whatever this was. Dream or not, James was in pain. I threw the door open and rushed in, revealing everything in the room. However, the only person in it was James himself, who was now staring at me wide-eyed in fear. James!
Stay back!
The mark began to burn brighter on his skin, ushering me to rush forward and pull on his bonds to set him free. The steel bonds held fast against the wall, not moving an inch.
I would rather burn than let you touch her!
Burn like Damien. Hey! Sorry. I stared at James wide-eyed. Was he doing this to protect me? Was this happening because of the protection spell he cast on me? Bright light. I didn't get a chance to think on it long, however. A bright flash of light erupted from James' body, and I shut my eyes, blinded by the sight. James! My eyes refused to open until I felt myself awaken. I shot up in bed, gasping and clutching at my chest. When I read, I just take in too much air and end up with the hiccups. My heart pounded inside of my ribs and at a frightened pace as I recalled images from the dream. Despite it not ending with me being attacked, it ended with James getting hurt. As I thought of James, I quickly looked over to see him still fast asleep. Luckily, I didn't scream to wake him this time, so I felt relieved that he wasn't ripped from his own rest. My heartbeat began to slow as I silently took a deep breath and let it out. It was a dream. I ran my palms over my eyes and rubbed them gently, calming down at last. I had to get through this. I had to keep my sanity about me. What? Yes, something in my gut wouldn't let me let this dream go. Something inside me ushered me to keep thinking about it, as if I was missing something. Was I overlooking something important? How could that have been? I shook my head and slowly laid back down, curling up against James and closing my eyes again. I had to rest. I had to let it go for now. I would figure this out later. Darkness greeted me again, and I was safe until the morning. I'm gonna end it here, guys, because I've got to work on this sneeze that's coming out of my nose. I gotta work on this damn sneeze. I'll up to you all on Twitter how my sneeze went. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.